My name is Catherine, and I'm Vice President of User Experience at Google. My first exposure to tech was probably in my senior year in a summer program that was called WISE, Women in Science and Engineering. I'll never forget that experience. I was working in a pathology lab, and I felt like a total imposter. I was the only high school student working with all these people in this medical lab. And one day, the doctor who I was working for handed me some graph paper, and he said, "Catherine, could you create these graphs for us?" and gave me some data. And I thought, okay, I can do this. And I looked at the graph paper and I thought, I remember my mother, who's an academic, had this new software program where you could create graphs using software. And I thought, okay, I'm going to actually try and create the graphs instead of on graph paper in this software program. And I went home and I did it. And I was really happy with how my bar charts and my pie charts came out. And I brought them back. And the whole staff, they thought I was from the future. They had never seen anything like this before. They were so impressed. And suddenly I went from feeling like a total imposter to the smartest person in the room. So it was my first lesson in realizing that so often you feel like an imposter when you're in a new role or a new situation, or maybe you're younger or you don't have as much experience, but everybody's got something unique that they can bring to the table and value that they can add. That experience has definitely carried through in terms of my love of working on software products and also in terms of how I approach new challenges. One of the things that was very obvious to me early on when I started my professional career, and even in my education, I was in an industrial engineering program, was that I was one of the few women in my program. It was often doubly intimidating. If I was taking a new job, I was the one with the least experience, and I sometimes was the only female in the room. What I came to learn to do was to use that intimidation as fuel. And one of my most important philosophies is always to ask my peers, whether they were male or female or more senior or more junior, to ask for help. And without fail, people were always willing to help me. And very quickly, I would go from a place from feeling intimidated and maybe out of place to suddenly having bonds and connections with people and recognizing that these people were more than happy and in most cases actually really wanted to see me succeed. I'll never forget when I had my first mentor. My boss came to me, I was probably a year into my very first job in my career, and said, "Hey, Catherine, I'd like you to work with Joe. I think he'd be a really great mentor for you." And someone who was new in the field, I suddenly thought, what have I done wrong? I mustn't be doing my job correctly. Why am I getting a mentor? I was thinking it was some bad thing and some kind of punishment. And very quickly realized how I completely had misinterpreted my manager's intentions. I look at different people and things that I value that they do, whether it's someone's public speaking or someone's business acumen or someone who is able to influence, and I will ask them or try to model their behavior. So I feel like I've had many mentors throughout my career to help me with different things. One of my pieces of advice for people new to the field of user experience would be to leverage the community. It's really such an amazing open community of people. And if you're new to it, it can be daunting and intimidating. There's so much that may be unknown. So join some local groups who focus on user experience. Find a mentor, find a peer. You will be amazed how people are willing to help you, whether it's reviewing your portfolio or helping you think about companies that would be a good match for your skill set. So I absolutely encourage you to leverage the amazing community of user experience professionals out there who are open and willing to help.